I was surprised initially. This has calmed down somewhat now, but by how much anxiety I had right when he was very small.
Mm-hmm.
The pregnancy too. Um, yeah, I thought I was sick. Like I was at the doctor all the time. And he was like, I think you should try therapy.
Oh, wow. Just the
like,
anxiety of I'm about to be a dad.
I wore one of them 7-day heart monitors. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
my
like,
God.
there's something wrong with me.
All right. Now we're officially starting.
There we go.
So thank you for doing my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're among the first conversations I've had for this podcast. So when I was like, who can I reach out to? I wanted to come down to LA and do some episodes, and you were high on my list. And I was also like, who knows where that dude is in the world? like you could be like, I figured you'd say yes, but I also was like, he could be anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm always trying to be home. So like, it's good if you're doing something in LA. It's a really like good choice to try and get me to do something here because I'm trying to be here.
Okay. I start every episode by giving people their flowers. I feel like in the hectic world that we're in and the things going on, and I'm booking people who I really admire and want to talk to for an hour. You know, so it's not yet just like, well, I got to book you because we got a slot. So it's really important to me to like book people, and so certainly, I've appreciated how you have come into my life. Like when I moved back to the Bay Area with my wife and Melissa, who was pregnant with our second kid, our second daughter. I was between jobs, so I didn't really know what was happening and what things were going on. And then I was working on United Shades, and I was really like, we had decided to make our life in the East Bay. At that point, we were living in Berkeley, but we always wanted to get to Oakland. But we decided we're not going to live in LA or New York. We're going to be here. And when you or Rafa reached out about blind spotting, I remember getting the call, like, these guys want you to do this thing. I was like, okay, cool. And then they want to talk to you on the phone. Do you remember this? You guys were like, we want to talk to you on the phone. Yeah.
I remember talking to you on the phone.
It was like a meet. They were like, they want to talk to you on the phone is what it was said to me. I was like, oh, okay, before I moderated. And you both just sort of let me know that, no, we know who you are.
Yeah.
which I appreciated.
Yeah, but it was such that everything associated with that film was like a wild experience for us because we had yet to work in Hollywood at all, really. So we didn't know how these things actually work.
Yeah.
But it was, we kept being like, we want everybody to know how intentional this is for us. This is not a part of this that's like, yeah, that would be cool. It was like, no, this is who we want to do this. And you were like, it would be awesome if Kamau did this. Like, this would be amazing. So.
And for me, I was still in this spot. I mean, I still am in this spot, but I was in the spot of like, I know I'm working hard, I'm doing things, but I don't know if you know who's seeing it or who's aware of it or or maybe people see it but don't like it. You know what I mean? I sort of put my head down and like, I'm going to do the work, especially then. So the fact that I think you all told me that you'd seen me at the Punchline back in the day. Yeah, which I was just witnessed the club that I came up at in San Francisco. So I just appreciate you two and how intentional you all are about your life and your work and connecting those things, and how when I look at you, like I said, when I reach out for you the podcast, I'm like, this dude, I just saw him on stage in Berkeley with clipping, like rapping his ass off.
Madness.
Yeah. I had Open Mike Eagle on yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the best.
Yeah. So I just saw you. Then I'm watching you on my phone in the new clip from The Boys. like there's a very brief like, there he is. Yeah. And then as I sit down today, I'm like, oh, another movie's coming out.
Yeah.
A Magic Hour.
Magic Hour.
Yeah.
Which I'm that's one of those ones like amazing that it's gonna have a theatrical release. Very independent. So I'm so excited about that.
And I have to say, looking at the clip, it looks like one of the movies like, is this a movie that me and my wife can go to, or should we see separately? It's one of those intense marriage movies where you're like,
oh yeah. I think it's a can though. It's very pro marriage.
Okay, good.
It's very pro forgiveness. It's very I
remember I went and saw Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with my girlfriend at the time, and I watched the movie and go, I think we got to break up because I don't get this from you. I don't feel this.
Where's the support?
I don't feel. I'm not. It's not the same. So I just want to be careful about those things. But I just see you like busting your ass all the time.
Oh man, I appreciate that. I mean, yes, sort of.
I mean, we all waste time behind the scenes, and we all like have days where we can't get out of bed. I'm not saying that
no.
But I just want to be clear. Like, and again, to take these flowers.
I'm working on accepting.
Yes.
I'm trying to be.
And you can elaborate, but I do see, like, sometimes there's people, like, I look at you like, I get he's good at a lot of things. Just take it.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at a lot of things, but he doesn't have to do all these things. He doesn't need to be here in Berkeley rapping his ass off with clipping.
Yeah.
He could be at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he could be, I see you, like, I just see you in being in a lot of spaces, and you do well in those spaces. And I really appreciate, like, it models, like, intentional work ethic, but also the kind of, like, approach to this business that is, like, on some level, we're all just like, some of us are just plumbers making the donuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that plumbers should make donuts, but you know what I mean? The idea of, like, we're just doing the work that's in front of us.
It's crazy. But no, I agree. I mean, to a certain degree, I do have to do all of those things because I don't know how to function otherwise. You know, like, I don't. The Bay Area-ness of it all is that thing where we just do things. We have to make things. And a lot of the way the business side of this works is you end up waiting to make things. Or you end up, like, waiting for permission to make things. And I don't know how to feel like a person when I'm doing that. At the same time, like, and this is, I admire you a lot in this too, because, like, I'm new to this dad business, and I'm, like, always trying to be with him. So anything that takes me away from him, I'm very nervous about, and I'm always trying to minimize, and, like, how quickly can I get in and get out, but I still, like, need to do it, you know. The amount of, like, serious discussions me and my wife Evie have had to have about, like, I know this doesn't bring in any money, and I know, like, where she's never getting out, it's like me apologizing beforehand, like, I'm so sorry, but I have to go do this rap show.
I mean, and and it's a real rap show. It's not like there's nothing about clipping that feels like it's like a hobby. It feels like this is, and I saw the tiny desk, and listened to the music, and it's like there's, in an alternate timeline, this is just who you are. Yeah. Like, you're just that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I still kind of think of myself as that guy. I don't know. Like, I'm just like, in the, around 2009 or something, eight, something like that. Like, I made a very conscious decision to start identifying as a rapper, because I was like, otherwise, how can I say that I am? It was the thing I had been doing for longer than anything else. Mm-hmm. I wasn't making any money from anywhere at the time. So it was just like, well, what's the thing that, and I had to be like, well, what do I love? If what is the thing I want to be? And I was like, I want to make these rap songs. I want to go all over the world playing rap songs. I'm a rapper. Yeah. I was saying that in public, which is a crazy thing for, like, a young black man to do. Yeah. Just especially, like, without a deal and with no, like, evidence that that's working, but just, like, show it up in my 97 Honda Civic being like, yeah, I'm a rapper.
I'm a rapper.
It was a crazy thing to do, but so anyway, that was such a choice that it's a thing that I still very much identify as.
Yeah, and I would imagine, like you said, in the Bay, there's just let's make some stuff. Yeah. And sort of let's make some stuff almost without regards often to profit or market, like whether the market needs this thing.
I know, because we don't know how, right? Like, there's no industry there, which is it's a wild place in hindsight to be such a robust, like, arts forward place where there isn't an industry behind it. So all of us are just making it and, like, and making the time to make it and figuring out how to work other jobs and make it. And that's just what you do because, like, art is necessary and we make art. And so, that's just part of the thing. And I was just thinking about this today. Like, I have hired people and also keep other people around me who are concerned with product, right? Because I don't even know how.
Oh, you need people who are like, that's a good unit, we can sell that.
Yeah.
And I mean that not in a cynical way, but in, like, this is a capitalistic society we live in. You have made a good unit that this is a good thing we can do.
Yeah, or even, even in films like this, I am such a process guy that I don't, if I see a thing that's like, this is a really interesting script. I would like to do. That's all I need to want to do it. Other people can advise me like that's gonna tank. That's not, or this is whatever.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I can decide to do it. Even like while shooting, somebody to tell me. That's what directors are for. I'm so interested in the process. I'll do 1,000 takes of a scene. I don't care. You got to tell me when it's done. I'm gonna keep trying something new. I'm having a great time here. You know, so like you tell me when you got it. Otherwise, because I don't know. I'm just out here doing it. I'm just out here.
You're out here to
playing,
sort of like do the thing and let the director go, oh, there it was. Great. I'm glad to know that's where it was. Yeah.
And I put a lot of trust in my collaborators in that way. Like my, you know, when I know what my role on a particular project is, my role here is as actor. Great. That's what I'm doing. I have to learn the lines and say the lines. Those are my parameters. And like, I'm going to do as much as I can within that. It is everybody else. You tell me when I'm lit. You tell me if my hair's out of place. You tell I'm not going to look at the screen. I don't care. This is like, my job is to be honest, try to find these moments of honesty. Like that's it. And I'll, as many chances as you want to give me to do that, cool. If you're losing light and we got to move on, cool. I got, you know, like that's what it is. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's intentional, but I mean, it's sort of connected to like, you just want to work and do things, but you're just a person who also, it has no problem appearing in, like you said, a small independent film, on stage doing, you know, how would you describe clipping as, where's their role in rap and hip hop? What is the, you know, I talked to Mike Eagle yesterday. He was like, I called myself art rap. That doesn't work anymore. So now he's like, I say indie rap because it sort of describes the entire thing.
Oh, so that's interesting. Yeah, maybe we'll just put ourselves there. We've always just called ourselves rap music. We was like very intentionally trying, because when we first came along, it was a lot of the commentary around us was like I don't like rap, but I like this, or like this isn't like what rap is like. And we started being very intentional about this is just rap. We're not actually doing anything new. We are taking all of the traditions that we have learned from being lifelong like practitioners and fans of this culture and music and making the thing that we do. So I've always just they're just rap songs.
You're not anti-rap. You're not post. You're not post-rap.
Not post-rap. No, nothing. It's all rap music.
So, but yeah, just to get back to the question, is like I see you like this is like what I would define as like sort of like this hardcore rap outfit, rap group. You're doing independent movies, and then but you're also. I'm not shocked at all to see you pop up in something big and loud and commercial like The Boys. That doesn't feel like David is supposed to be independent. You know what I mean? There's a time when people sort of put those labels on people, like you're not supposed to be doing that. Parker Posey, what are you doing in a big movie?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't feel like with you that I see you as being like, oh, I feel like no, that's perfect for him, and I'm happy for him, and I can't wait to see what he does in that space.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that those. That kind of sectioning off is sort of disappearing in some ways, you know. I think we as fans, as audience, have become so much more aware of the business side of it than we were before, and how hard it is to make money doing art. So, like, I don't know. Generally, for me, any actor I see in a big thing that it looks like they got paid a lot for, like, I'm very happy for them.
He's trying. Man, that guy got insurance.
He's got
his insurance covered for the whole year.
Any, you know, Mike Eagle song gets a placement on a Netflix movie. Hell yeah. Like that's, yes. Like I hope.
It's my brother.
I know you didn't get paid enough for that, but like I hope you did. Like, you know, so yeah, but I do, you know, I mean, the jump off for me was Hamilton, and it was the most popular thing in a very long time.
Yeah.
But it was still, for me, it was me and my friends making something dumb, right? So like that, it was, so the only process I know, and it's all part of the same, is the same process. These people are people I trust. Like, these are artists I enjoy working with. This is an idea that I don't know if it works or not. That's a big thing for me on everything. Is like, the most attractive thing for me is to not know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because I need the experiment of it. I need the excitement of being like, wow, this is a big swing, or what could we possibly be doing here? Or, you know, being halfway through and being like, this is a failure. You know, I kind of need that juice. Yeah. So, and so it just, but because I think I have benefited in many ways because of that being my sort of entry to the more mainstream world, in that for me, it was still that exact same modality of working, but it became this phenomenon that was just pop art, So
yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on that because I know you've talked about Hamilton a lot, but I don't actually know the origin story of you and Lin-Manuel coming across each other. I'm sure you've talked about it before, but how do you?
Just Freestyle Love Supreme.
Okay. We were which is the hip hop collective.
Yeah. So we were rapping like, and a funny clerical error, but and so on some bass style. I've told this story before too, so you cut it out of the thing. But like, it's me and Anthony Veneziali, who's another founding member of Freestyle, was living in San Francisco. We were both, due to a clerical error, called to substitute teach the same class in Marin City. And so we show up, it's like a first grade class or something. You have to come up with something new to do with these kids every 15 minutes. I guess we're both getting paid today, so we're both going to do this.
Yeah.
And at some point, we just start freestyling with the kid. He's like, do you freestyle? I was like, I do. He was like, great, this is what we're going to do. We're going to beatbox and we do this. And we did that for like half an hour. Really worked out.
Yeah.
I think his wife's car had broken down or something, so I gave him a ride home back to San Francisco. And we started talking, and he was like, I'm part of this group, Freestyle Love Supreme. My friend Lynn, I don't know if you know him. He's like, whatever. He's about to do a show on Broadway called In the Heights. I have no idea of anything that you're talking about, but maybe, whatever. I don't know, So, but that's how I know those guys, is through that. And we became friends, and then
I've become more fascinated recently with just the idea of sliding doors and butterfly effect, and the idea that like that doesn't, that's a your whole life goes a different direction.
Yeah.
If you maybe like you're still an actor, you're still rapping, but you're not necessarily in Hamilton.
I'm almost certainly not. I don't know how I would have met those cats otherwise. And that is particularly crazy, especially because like if anyone who's been a substitute teacher knows, like, it's not a lot of great opportunities to come out of that.
Not a lot of life changing. And after I substitute taught,
most of those things I'm trying to forget.
I tripped over $1 billion, right? And I was like, "There's $1 billion here." Thank God I substitute taught today. So. I want to give you this is how like my Hamilton. How I've seen Hamilton from the outside, because that ends in a very personal way. Otherwise, we wouldn't necessarily talk about it. But like, I'm a person who like I was living in Oakland when Hamilton hit, and all I knew about Hamilton was that people in New York Twitter were like raving over it. Like, that was like when Twitter was Twitter, and Twitter was talking about Hamilton.
Yeah,
and at the time, I didn't know if I was ever going to see it. My wife's a big Broadway person, but we were not in a position to go to Broadway and see these things. So and then I remember. And then it tours, and then more people start to see it, and then my wife starts to see it, and then it becomes Hamilton, and it's everywhere, and everybody's talking about it. Pandemic, it airs on Disney Plus, and then the Hamilton discourse begins.
Oh yeah.
And I sort of have this feeling that because my wife loves Broadway, that like I don't know that Broadway's for everybody. Like I think that like there's a reason why it's in New York, and the people who want to see it go see it.
I agree.
And that like I feel like you can basically discourse every Broadway play, because it's just, and I no offense to Broadway, it's about, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief that happens when you go into a theater, like a Broadway theater.
Absolutely.
And go, why is everybody singing at me?
Yeah.
Why isn't there this? Why isn't there that? But so the Hamilton discourse starts, which we don't have to get into, but it's just about like, is this thing the thing that it is, or is it not the thing that it is? And why would you do the thing this way? And da-da-da-da-da and all these things. And I remember seeing that Hamilton discourse and being like, at the time knowing you, and be like, man, it's not his play, but he's in the middle of this. And sort of feeling like, how does it feel to be in the middle of this? And sort of like, and then it feels like that happened. We also in the pandemic, and then we sort of come back, and then you all are at the Tonys, and it's something like, it's okay again.
10 years will do a lot. I
guess.
guess.
Like, we're back, baby. And we're celebrating the anniversary. My favorite moment of the Tonys is when you did that jump. I was watching with my daughter, and she heard me go, whoa!
Yeah. I got texts from everybody I know. They're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Like, what?
I think I might have said, "My knees."
Yeah, like, literally, I don't think I've ever gotten more reach outs like for anything.
I was just like, I watched it several times because I was like, I couldn't pull that off even at my most athletic day of my life. But like, that was truly impressive.
I got separate phone calls before when we had decided to do that from. Both Lynn and Andy, the choreographer, both reached out like separately, being like, "Can you jump off a table?" I was like, "I can't do it 8 times a week, but I could probably get it up one time." And let me.
And that is something about you that I also respect. There's an athletic kinetic nature about you as an actor that is also a part of that seems to be a part of your process.
Yeah, man. I came up running track, and so from when I was 9 till post college, I ran all the way through college and thought I might be able to make the trials or something after college. So it was really important to me, and it is still the thing that I miss the most. Is that I think most former athletes have this thing where you just there was a kind of, especially for me, where I'm a relatively shy person. I'm like I play a lot of boisterous characters. I'm not really that way in my life. It was a way to just quietly walk around and feel superior to people. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have this superpower. I can run really fast, and I can like jump over these. I was a hurdler, so like I could also do this kind of like weird timing, technical flexibility thing that like is useless probably in life.
No, it's not.
Especially given
we need to get over there quickly, but there's a bunch of obstacles in the way.
Who
can do it?
Especially with my life choices. I'm not running from the police or anything like that. So but it was just nice. You had that thing, and that just like all physical things goes away with age. Now and so when I get those opportunities to do that on shows or in TV work or whatever, I'm always annoying my stunt performer by being like, "How much you gonna let me do? How much, like, can you teach me that thing? Like, wouldn't it be better if I did that thing?"
Hey, I mean, because then you can get the camera angle. So to wrap up the Hamilton discourse, that just about seeing you at the Tonys, the reason why my daughter was watching it, she's Juno, she's now 12. At the time, she's probably 10, because she became a kid who fell into Broadway and fell into Hamilton, and then I'd be walking around my house and hear a 10-year-old be like, "How cuz a bastard?" And it was just like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, this thing is like, I just was like, it was just so cool to see it in my life come full circle and come around. Like, now I got this 10-year-old who is rapping to herself in her bedroom lyrics from Hamilton.
It's wild. It's I never know whether to apologize to parents or to
not for like, there are creators who need to apologize. Are you involved in Coco Melon? Because if you're involved,
what's funny is Clipping was asked to contribute a song to Coco Melon, and we were all like, absolutely not.
I don't even understand how that would work.
I don't either.
I mean, luckily,
we made Puppy for Hanukkah, so we have some.
But Coco Melon's anyway. That's a whole nother podcast. But like, luckily, my 7-year-old who was the Coco Melon fiend is out of it for several years. But it was you don't need to apologize for Hamilton. There's other things I would like to talk to people about too. Other child creators. So for me, just to see it as an inroads for this 10-year-old to like music and to hip hop was like, I think it's just like becomes like that's what you want right there, right?
It's a pretty wild, that's not what we thought we were doing, I don't think, but that's amazing that that's happened. Well, the thing that it did is just the thing that Lynn is, which is like a person who exists at the intersection of exactly those things that there are. A history buff who is as knowledgeable about Broadway as he is about rap music. And so this show is just like the intersection of the things he loves. And he's a pretty like unique, fascinating person, but he's so kind of and you see this when you see him speak publicly or whatever. His gift is that he lets everybody into it. He's that was it. These are actually sort of 3 spheres that always feel incredibly gatekept, right? And he was just like, or
the reverse,
or everybody could just walk in.
I just wanted to give you my Hamilton, the arc of my Hamilton relationship based on my 12-year-old, who's very excited I'm talking to you.
I love it.
The other thing that when I think about you is just public displays of men in community and men who are friends is such a cool thing. Like dudes who have each other's backs all the time and don't. So you and Rafa as like this as this sort of like one of the most
platonic life mate.
Exactly. One of the most adorable things, me and Kelly Rafferty, who worked with me for years, when we discovered the Calvin and Hobbes videos you guys did. I mean? It's just like it's like they're so sweet and so saccharine and so underrated. Like they're like I feel like I just want if anything can happen on this podcast, I need people to go watch those videos.
Yeah, but they're not too many because litigious. They'll just get taken down. I don't know. It's not what we made any money.
I don't think the Calvin. I don't think he's that worried about it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't want to get upset. But anyway, just talk about being that this is we all have this. Many of us be friends with somebody in high school. Like we're going to be friends forever. Or we're going to do things forever. Yeah. And then things don't happen that way. Yeah. Talk about being friends for a long time, publicly, professionally, and continually.
Yeah, man. I mean, Rafa. So we actually knew each other in high school, but we actually didn't start really hanging out very much. So I was a little bit older than he was until I got back from college. So it's like 2004. And one of my best friends, his little brother is the same class as Rafael, and they were very good friends. And so Rafael, at whatever he was at the time, 18 years old or 19 years old, was already running a recording studio in North Oakland. And my friend Justin was like, "You gotta go. You should go. You guys do this. Go ahead." So we got like set up on a rapper play date, basically, and that was it. Like we stayed up till 4 a.m. that first night I was there making a song. Then we got in the car and we listened to the song because that's as is the custom. And then I was there pretty much every night. I've probably spoken to him almost every day since then. Wow. But it's just it's crazy when you. I think especially at that age, early 20s, when you're really trying to figure it out. And if you're an artist and you find someone you click with artistically, that's incredibly valuable. If that person also becomes somebody who you trust, who you're making mistakes together and growing up together, and has your back and has seen you at your worst and is still there and forces you to celebrate your wins. Like Rafa is so good with that for me because I'm not a celebration type, and he for my whole life has always been like.
I can tell. I tried to give you flowers and you were like,
I know, but he has always been the one who's like, let's acknowledge it. Who knows how many of these we get, So he's one of those, and so it's interesting. We're writing another film together right now, and it is kind of about how that kind of a friendship ages and what happens, when kids get involved in this stuff, we made Blind Spotting is essentially about like a, young man, late 20s, right? That kind of male friendship, and now what's a 40s male friendship like and what are those changes, and how do you how do those things grow together? But I think to me what's interesting about it is it's both absolutely effortless and also incredibly intentional.
Right? When you're in your 40s, I don't know if this is true for women, but as a man, you have to be intentional to stay friends with your men friends.
Anybody,
because it just sort of, or with your friend, because it can just easily, because you get so caught up in whatever your life is. Yeah. Then you be like, I don't even talk to that dude anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, when your life just stopped involving friends, really, like as a necessary part of life, it kind of does. In some ways, so it has to be intentional. I mean, even all of our, starting to, when we were working together, when Blind Spotting happened, and it happened after Hamilton, and so there was like for two people, actually honestly, like in the Bay when we were making rap songs, like Rafa was kind of the famous one. So he had the deaf poetry thing going on, so he had like a huge YouTube following. He was the one who was able to book shows out of town, and he would always bring us along. It was always like, so he was the one opening doors so everybody could run through. And then this thing happened, and now like the sort of balance had shifted the other way. People knew my name, wanted to talk to me, and like navigating those kinds of things. And then now you're adding agents and managers and stuff on top of that who like don't understand the history of it, and who don't, there are so many hard conversations that had to be had.
We're like, I know you suggested Rafa, but who else should we look at for this?
Like literally nobody. But also, hard conversations with them, hard conversations with each other about, we've developed a pretty good muscle now on projects that we're working on together, like sitting down really before we even get into it and being like, what is important to you about this and what is important to me about this, and let's get really clear on that. What are our non-negotiables, so that when all the bullshit starts happening, it's going to happen, like we can know that like we are satisfying these things, and we get that really clear before
being
we
intentional
start.
about like what do we both want out of this, so that when all the showbiz nonsense happens, we can remember, well, I just need this and you need that,
right? Because when you start, especially with us, when you start talking about like who wrote what or whose idea, it's like what are you talking about? Like, that's not how it works. We like
it's like Lennon McCartney. We were both there talking about it.
We sit down and we eat food, and then like a year later there's a thing. But it's so yeah, we've had to realize that the Hollywood business is very much about dividing those things up and being like, the credit is what you need. And so we tend to decide early on, like, what's the credit you need from this? Like, what do we say? Obviously, it doesn't matter. Like, the work doesn't matter. We're gonna do what we do. What do you need out of this, or what do I need out of this? Okay, let's do that. Let's make that happen. Let's send the teams off to accomplish that.
Yeah, that's the part about it that is so remarkable to me, because as you know, I mean, being a person who's also a rapper, the money has broken up a lot of friends in rap. It's broken up a lot of crews. Like, a lot of boys have fallen apart over money.
That's true. Ours didn't come from rap.
But I would imagine that there's probably, it's got to be certain times where you have to sort of go, stop, let's talk about this, because you want to prioritize the friendship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It turns out that having relationships for that long, you have to talk things out. Stuff does get weird, and stuff, and time passes and you don't know. You go from when you're young and you're just hanging out in studios or whatever, you spend most of your free time is together. So you don't actually have to have those check-ins. I just saw you. And I'll see you again.
And you're also, now, if you two are working, there's not a sense of like, we'll just do this until 4 a.m. because I got a kid.
I don't do nothing till 4 a.m. anymore. He's up at 6. I'm like, But and we work. He's off shooting a TV show right now. So also, like, geographically, we're just spread out, and time is different. So it's just with the clipping stuff too. Like, finding time to record now is crazy. When I first we started that band in 2011 when I first came down to LA, and it was very easy to spend all day at Jonathan's house making rap songs. I didn't have anything else to do. Literally, my calendar was free.
Yeah, you're like, let me look at my Google Calendar. Yep, I'm free till the end of time currently.
Yeah, I've got nothing going on.
Have you guys been, like you said, there was a point early in your relationship where Rafa's like the big dog or the more prominent one, and then you're after Hamilton. Is there any tension there? Is there any sort of like, is it guilt, survivors?
I deal with a lot of survivor's guilt, but not with that relationship really. I think the tension is always it's not from within the relationship, right? It's always from outside, but and it is often like, or it has been, so this is with me and Rob, it's not really like this now, but at some points early on, it was like, well, what can I do to even this out? Because there's no way I can get, the thing isn't out yet, right? There's no way that I can get them to see it. So what's the thing that I can do to level this playing field or something?
What do you mean the thing isn't out yet?
Like when we were making Blind Spotting or whatever, for example, like trying to get that deal through.
Once this comes out, things will.
Then I think it becomes
shift.
Very obvious
that we're a duo.
Yeah.
But right now it's not here. But so you're feeling I'm doing half the work, but the world sees you as being the guy.
Yeah.
Or I want you to feel like I value your input into this.
Yeah. So I used to worry about that a lot more, but we've gotten pretty good at it. But yeah.
Talk about being a dad.
It's the best thing I've ever done. It's not even close.
Wow.
But it did. It was that I really liked being on the road before, and I really enjoyed. There's a certain kind of like high that you get from that, like not sleep, like different city every day kind of life. And now I just literally everything is to go back home. Like, how much can I minimize the time away from home?
Is there a flight after the show?
Yeah, I'm on red eyes all the time, man. Like,
Wow.
or that the show I'm working on right now in New York, whatever my last day of work is, there's a 7 a.m. flight the next day, and I'm on it. If they can get me on it, I'm on it. And here it's if you put me on that midnight red eye, I'll take that one. Mostly they don't like me to show up the day of a shoot.
No, that's what I was saying. The more you start to like get, put more miles on yourself. I don't say get older. You start to realize I can't do that red eye flight and show up at like, hey, I'm here, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm here to work and I'm ready to work.
Yeah. I won't be good.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, like that's actually less of a concern for me than spending time with my kid. Like if I get to do bedtime, I'll take being shitty tomorrow. I don't mind that.
I'm gonna need extra makeup today.
Yeah. So that thing has been interesting, and but being a dad it's the best.
What's the most surprising thing? I mean, I know it's the best thing, but talking about some like really like specific things for me, I'll say, just to give you an example, like how much that like the moment the kid is born, you're actually meeting who they are, and it just reveals itself more over time.
Oh yeah.
Like from the day each of my 3 daughters was born, they're that same person that they were the day they were born.
Yeah.
It just I just see it more. Their personality has emerged more over time.
Oh man, it's so real, and so
they're not empty vessels. They don't show up. They don't show up like, oh, well, just put whatever personality you want in me.
Yeah. And I and I don't know. I don't think I thought that's what it was going to be exactly, but I did think I'd have slightly more influence than I do.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It turns out like I don't really have any. Sometimes I get lucky, but he's really into music, which is great. And we listen to so much music every day, and he's got, for a 2-year-old, like, generally they want to listen to the same things over and over again. But his playlist of songs that he loves that you could sort of play anytime is like probably 30 songs long now. Like he's like he's made some
building
choices.
Up some musical stamina.
Yeah. And
now are these kid songs?
No, almost none of them. Yeah,
really?
I mean, he likes the Bluey theme song.
I mean, come on, I don't think
about,
Bluey is really kids programming.
He doesn't really watch the show. I watch the show, but every time it loops back to the song, he comes back.
Yeah, it's a show for parents. Yeah. And the cartoon part is for the kids, but the actual content is for the parents.
Exactly. That show's so amazing. But big fan of GNX, that was, which is amazing that it came out. It's literally his generation, and he that Kendrick Lamar halftime show. We were just watching it again. He watches it daily. We've had to limit it. He'll watch it.
Eat your vegetables, and then we can watch the Kendrick Lamar.
That's literally what we do. Like that's not.
Me and your son have a lot in common because I just watched that recently too.
That's on all the time, and he has his favorites. Peekaboo's his favorite song on there, which is inappropriate.
My 7-year-old's a TV off kid.
Oh yeah,
Mustard. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. He calls that song Mustard.
Yep,
and,
of course.
Yeah.
She was excited to see Mustard at the Super Bowl.
Is
that Mustard?
Him too.
Yeah.
And every time it comes on, he goes, "Here come Mustard."
Oh,
yeah. So GNX is out. He's a big Brandy Carlisle fan. Didn't get that from me.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like he makes a lot of choices that are his own. Also.
I would like the musical festival that was like the big stage is Kendrick Lamar and Brandy Carlisle.
Those are probably
clipping.
Yeah. He only likes a couple of my songs, but he does ask for them, which is very sweet. He goes, "Want to play Dada rapping?" Breaks my heart. And then I'll play a song, and he's like, "Not that one." But yeah, he's but yeah, like he discovered. I left the room at one point and came back in. And we had been like cruising through Apple Music on the Apple TV, which is how crazy it is that he can use remotes and stuff. But I left to use the bathroom or something. I came back and he's got some Egyptian pop song on called Bum Bum that he's just dancing, and he insisted that I add it to his playlist right then, and it is like that's another thing in heavy rotation that he discovered entirely on his own. I didn't know. I had to go look up what it was about. Turns out it's like about a guy who like accidentally gets drunk when he's out with his friends and like the hilarity that ensues. It's kind of like a novelty song.
Oh,
this
that's
dude,
funny.
Muhammad Ramadan, who's apparently like a huge, which sounded fake to me, but that's because I don't know nothing. Apparently like a very big star, and I don't, so it's wild.
Shout out to Muhammad Ramadan.
Yeah. I don't know. So that stuff's crazy. But yeah, him, that thing about them already being their own people, I think I was surprised initially, this has calmed down somewhat now, but by how much anxiety I had right when he was very small. Mm-hmm. The pregnancy too. Yeah, I thought I was sick. Like I was at the doctor all the time. And he was like, I think you should try therapy.
Oh, wow. Just the anxiety of I'm about to be a dad.
I wore one of them 7-day heart monitors. You know what I'm saying? Like I was really, I was like, God, there's something wrong with me. And I wanted to be a dad. It was just, there was like this incredible amount of fear. And then when he was small too, just that the not knowing if you're doing anything right and what does that even mean, and like the whole, really, I was a person who I'm a pretty nervous person, but I don't think of myself as an anxious person. Like, I haven't had a ton of anxiety in my life, but that the last couple of years I've been like, more stressed than I ever remember.
What have you figured out what it's connected to exactly? I mean, as a dad, I don't need to be like, wow, why would you be anxious? But have you sort of figured out what it is or where it's coming from?
I think it was just really loving somebody very deeply is anxiety inducing in some ways, in that like I can't control everything. I can't make everything good for them, and I am so mostly, I think, at peace with like that not everything's going to be good for me, but
but you can't wrap your head around not everything's going to be good for him.
And then with a kid, like I've never loved anybody that much. Like that was wild. So this thing of being like, oh, I only want good things for you, and that's impossible. And I just like, that really stresses me out. And I think I also had a great childhood in a very hard situation. You know what I'm saying? In hindsight, like we were poor, we were East Oakland, we were, like it was a lot against us, and I was so happy, and like I had so much fun. And we have everything relatively, and I am so worried about his happiness all the time. I'm just like, oh, is this what you want to do? And am I around enough? Which I really work at being around. That's the one thing I know, is that both my parents were there. They weren't together. They were both very present, So that's the one thing I try to control as much as I can. But he's about to start preschool. Are we choosing the right? I don't know. Like what? And it's preschool. It's not even. We could change it if he doesn't like it. We'll go somewhere else. Like where it feels also, like such a stressful decision right now. Like, I don't know.
We live at a time where the algorithm, once it knows, oh, are you a new dad? Let me send you some things to be anxious about. You know
I had
what I mean?
to get the hell off. I barely, good when I have to promote something, I tap back in, but I'm mostly off that.
But I think there's just the idea that there's also just so much more information to make you feel anxious. And that before, when our parents were around, they just had to sort of, there's that one Dr. Spock book, but other than that, it was just like, figure it out.
Right,
Whereas now there's like, oh, it's a book. Here's a book for kids who are 1 month and 3 days old. You know what I mean? So like, there's just a lot more information that wants to make you anxious. And I understand that, like, and I, as a dad who travels a lot, and as a dad who, if I talk about work, my kids sort of have that moment of like, are you about to leave? You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, often I don't travel as much as I used to, but like, even coming down here, I have to go, I'm 2 sleeps. Right. I'll be gone for 2 sleeps. You have to, describing things in sleeps, I feel like helps. Like, it's like,
it changed everything so immediately. And all for, like, I love my life right now. It's so great, but it's a big change, so and it's great.
It makes being when you're on the road, you're always like you said, it's like, oh, I'm glad to be here. after the show, we go to the airport.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're thinking
Can I
about
get
how to get home.
How do I get home from here? Like,
Yeah,
this is
like
wonderful.
I'm like, oh, this will wrap up soon. I mean, I have a 9:00 flight, but I can just go straight to the airport and get an earlier flight. You know what I mean? Like, just the idea of like
all three of us in clipping now have young children, and like that. Jonathan described it really well one time. She's like, yeah, I love playing shows. I love it. Nothing's better than hanging out with my daughter, though. Like, there's nothing. I would, of course, rather be doing that than anything else. So, like, it doesn't really matter how much I love this. Like, I love that more. So, like,
it's just, unfortunately, I can't figure out how hanging out with my daughter will pay.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, you can't.
Once they come to the shows.
Or you do like a family channel where you just put your family on the internet.
I can't do that.
No, I can't do it either. I can't do it.
I don't wish that for him. He is very cute, though. Yeah. There's like
you look at your kid like, man, you could be.
No, you could really make some money, kid.
I could just be your manager. We could really be out there.
the thought has occurred to me.
Yeah,
but I think he's pretty introverted like me. I don't think he would love it. So
no, for sure. Before we get out of here, a couple more things. So I moved to the Bay in '97, and I was really moving to be a part of the San Francisco comedy scene, but I found an apartment in Oakland.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up in Oakland.
Yeah.
I lived in the city, but I was for a while, but I was always in Oakland because I met Melissa. She was in the East Bay. So I had a day job in Berkeley. And so it was like, again, the sliding doors thing. If I found an apartment in San Francisco, maybe I'm a different, my life's different. But I'm so and I've only learned more as I've sort of been in Oakland. And we moved back to the Bay in 2014, right before I met you. Mm-hmm. And my one oldest daughter was born in San Francisco, but my other two kids were born in the East Bay. So there's just this real sense of like my kids are growing up with this idea of like we are from Oakland or we are from the East Bay. Can you talk about for people from the outside? Because there's a thing, and I heard you've talked about before. Like Daddy, you told me when you were doing blind spotting that like you had to explain to the costume people. No, people from Oakland wear things that say Oakland on them. Like it's not weird. It's not a thing that only tourists do.
It's a real conversation.
No, actually we do wear. Yeah. People. It's not like
everybody can just be wearing shirts to rep the city. Yeah. They kind of go walk around for a second, you kind of can.
So can you just explain what that is? What is the secret sauce there? Because, a lot of people love their hometown, but you've traveled all over the world, so you've seen other places. What is it about? And I feel like there's also this part of this conversation that I also want to have, East Bay versus Oakland.
That's interesting.
Like you also went to high school in Berkeley, right?
Yeah.
So there's also the Berkeley thing versus Oakland. And I find myself in times like trying to figure out, I live in Oakland. I love Oakland, but also I love the greater East Bay.
Yeah.
And also I did live in Berkeley, and I'm not mad, and I'm not trying to, but there's all these different ways to describe this place.
Yeah.
And to name this place.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there.
Good. I'll just sit back.
We're going to get real
it's a conversation
inside baseball.
I think about a lot. Yeah, no, it is inside baseball, but I sort of feel like
there's no more baseball, but that's not true. The ballers.
Yeah, the ballers.
The ballers who are.
But yeah, so like I just feel like you are from that place, so and I feel sometimes I've gotten to the place where I'm really careful with my language, like because I know that sometimes people from Oakland are like, "Hey, Kamau, slow the down." Like, you know what I mean? Like you didn't go to high school here,
right?
So settle down.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so I'll settle down a little bit,
But I don't know, you've been there an awfully long time, but yeah.
Sometimes you're like, I've been here longer than you've been alive, but okay, fine.
I think this feels like I'm speaking from a particular perspective of my age also. That should be made aware. So like, I don't know how this applies to people younger than me, but it used to be, and this is still to a degree true, when you tell people you're from California, it's either LA or San Francisco, right? Like those are the two things that people know.
Back in the day, for sure.
So part of being from the East Bay was about differentiating from that. It was this hard line about we are not San Francisco. And because you're there, like culturally they are very different experiences, but also like, we just hated that thing. That's not who we are. Like we're over here and we're our own thing, and we're
it's sort of analogous to the Brooklyn Queens thing, but
exactly.
like these are separate cities,
but they're separate cities, but
they have different cultures and different personalities.
Functions the same way sort of. And so there's that. Oakland being kind of like the biggest East Bay city, like the kind of hub, that also became kind of a catch-all for East Bay, right? And so there'd be, again, like if you're away, you could tell people from San Francisco, no, from Oakland. Then you have to explain it's just across the bridge, or whatever. If you start saying things like Hayward or San Leandro or whatever, El Cerrito, Albany, where I lived, like Richmond, all of these other things, it got so granular that people couldn't take it. So there was also this generalization happening, and for people who were really from Oakland, used to be like, you got used to being like, people say, I'm from Oakland. Oh, where? What part you from? Or I'm from there too. Oh, well, I'm from Piedmont, which is actually like part of Oakland, but you didn't want to say, that's like a suburb, or I'm from Hayward. People, so there's this other kind of like Oakland chauvinism, because Oakland feels special because it like was the hub. It was like it had it was historically was like a rougher area, although I don't know, we were always scared of Richmond growing up. So there was that too. There was like a badge of honor with being from Oakland, from this like home of the Black Panther Party, this like real like sort of important like culturally relevant thing. And so I was born in Oakland, and my dad always lived in Oakland, and my mom then kept moving further and further north. So I was, as a person who was kind of out of place anyway, would always just claim Oakland because I was always living there. And then when I moved back home, I moved to Oakland. So I've always felt like that was my home. But I also, like, my mom lived in Albany, and I would never claim that. Like, that's crazy. You don't want to say that in public. Like, Albany is a very, like, well-off small suburb with great public schools, and where most of the population, at least at the time, were families of professors. Or in my mom's case, they had one student housing complex down by the train tracks called the University Village, where, like, graduate students with families could live. And so my mom had gone back to school after my brother was born, and so she moved to the village, which is really desirable because, again, like, great public schools in Albany. So if you're going to send it to thing, I understand so much more now than I did at the time. But you're going to send your kid to public school, you could live in Albany, then there you go. And so so there's always this kind of like division and explanation and like where you really from and all this stuff. But a lot of it, at least when we were young, was about being able to claim something that felt tough, both because like it's cool because you're a young man and you want to feel tough, and also because like there's a certain kind of safety with having people be a little bit afraid of you for no good reason, right? Like especially for someone like me, who's not a scary person. I need to lead with something that's a little bit like,
he's from Oakland.
And like, there's another great thing about Oakland is that like there's a kind of danger associated with it, even though like a lot of us are very artsy, like even though it's a very like sort of, and it's, you get your like kumbaya, your sort of hippie aesthetic mixed right in with all your gangsterism and stuff. It's, and it was, so it's very useful to be able to come from a place that is that mixture, where I got the hard part for free without having to actually portray any of it. And so, that's what I think about it for me. But it is like sort of the rich cultural history, the history of protest, the intellectual history of Oakland, and it is all there, and it is all there actually in the Holy Bay, but the neighborhoods feel different. But like, I can go home and talk to people about books. I can't really talk to people in LA about books, really. Like, not really. There is something different there, and especially for artists, but kind of for everybody. There's I think if you're from there, there's an understanding that like it is special, and a lot of us end up fighting to keep it that way, or to figure out how to keep it that way, and to figure out how to be able to survive and live there and make better livings there. And so, you're still living there, so like this is you're like really part of that. It's like how to, how can we grow this here instead of having to leave so much to figure this out. And often at odds with our elected officials, or there's often not a lot of help. But because I think historically that is also true, the way community works there is different than it is in a lot of places, certainly than it is here, which geographically is very different. There are all sorts of reasons for that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, if LA was that area, it would be like 9 different cities.
Yeah.
Like, it would not be just Los Angeles.
Yeah. So we, there's a kind of community there that like does feel different. And I think when you're from there, you've lived there a long time, there is this sort of drive and desire to continue to give back to it and continue to figure out how to make it a better place, because we all love it so much. And even when we're not there, like, we want it to thrive. Like, so much of my identity is about being from Oakland and being from the East Bay in general. And so, like, as that changes, I feel it is like it shakes some things for me. There were people, families that I knew can't live there anymore, all that stuff, like all these, just home, the things that you called home. And that happens for everybody everywhere. But I think for me, loving that place so much, like, it takes on like more of sometimes you feel like your foundation gets shaky when, I don't know, if the A's leave or something, or whatever. Or the Warriors leaving. It's not like I'm not still a Warriors fan, but like they went to San Francisco. It's like, that's a slap in the face. You were on the better side.
You won some championships, and then San Francisco's like, oh, we'd like that team now. Bring them back over here. Yeah. Well, I think it's just the sort of connected to all this is there's not, every city has an activist culture, but I don't know that every city demands that all of its people sort of be engaged in the activist culture the way that Oakland does. And Berkeley is part of this too, with the free speech movement and everything. But just the idea that, like, talk about, because you could be doing everything you're doing and not be regularly engaging in activism.
Right.
You could just be like, I'm working, I'm a good representative of my city.
Right.
But you are also regularly sort of like speaking out and saying things and supporting things.
Somewhat regularly. Yeah.
I mean, I see, I'll say regularly. Yeah. More than most.
All right.
Again, more flowers, sir.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When people call on you, you do answer the call.
Yes.
It's not like you're not like, sorry, I've got a big movie coming out. I can't really be out here looking like I care about these things, about humans, know.
Right.
So why do you answer the call?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was how we grew up. I mean, the Berkeley of it all, the Berkeley High thing, like, we were walking out of school every day. I don't know. It was a protest. There was at least a protest a week. Just like part of, and the teachers were like, "Oh, we got to wrap up class early. I know you got a big protest to get to." It was
teachers like, "We'll stop math today because you got to get out there.
You guys got to get out there." I know.
Nuclear disarmament.
Here, I have some extra signs behind the desk if you'd like to, whatever. So yeah, it was just part of it, and I don't know. It was it was sort of a surprise to find art separate from activism, actually, like, upon leaving, I didn't really know. I guess I had heard tell of it, but like, I didn't really know how you participated, and I didn't know that it existed. I was a poetry slam kid, and I was whatever, like, Mark Bamuti Joseph, one of my mentors, like, there literally was no separation between like any word he says and like any way that his body moves and like his connection to activism. So, so it's just kind of in there. And it's not, it's not all great. There's some ways that, like, Berkeley is really fucking annoying, man. Like, Oakland can be really annoying.
Yeah.
But also, I would take it over, I would take an awareness, even at the, like, expense of just being able to have a nice dinner, to the other side of it, to only ever having nice dinners with, like, not having at least some awareness and desire to, like, help people, that like things should not be as they are, and how do I, at least some exploration of how do I fit into that, and how can I affect that, and how can we affect that for each other.
There's also, to me, with the thing that when I think about what I gained by moving to the Bay Area and living in Oakland specifically, there's an effortless intersectionality that happens there where you just stumble across different communities. And so then you leave and go, wait, you guys are freaked out about those things? Yeah. I didn't know to be freaked out about those things. You know what I mean? Like I was just sort of around people saying those things. And, so, that we just sort of, that even though it's funny, Oakland has this very hard, like you said, like, don't, oh, you're from Oakland? Oh. Yeah. But also like Oakland has this, like, as long as you're cool, Yeah. And also down for the people, down for the cause, down for the people struggling, down for the oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. And not a lot of, there's not a lot of pretense about what that looks like, what kind of person that is, right? It's a diverse community in all senses, economically, ethnically, and just so like I feel like a lot of places you go and there's just an assumption that a person who cares about this is this kind of a person, or has this kind of a job, or does this for, and that's just not true there. Like you said, like the intersectionality is very common. It's almost like it just is how it is, And I think that's one of the things when you talk about the reason we are so proud of it when we're from there is because you go away and is the first time when you realize that not everywhere is like that. You're like, oh, and you're starting to explain yourself all the time, and the explanation always ends up starting with, oh, well, I'm from Oakland, so, and then and you hope that will be enough, but it's not, so it's a different way of seeing things. It just is. It just is. I don't know. I didn't make it, but I grew up in it, and so like
and you're making it. You keep making it. My penultimate question: is there any life lesson or thing that is true in your life that are things that regularly help you sort of get through the day or sort of process the world, or things that you're like, this thing is true, this thing I've learned, this thing my mom said, this thing I read one time really helped you, sort of like a mantra or anything that sort of like that you're like, this is one thing I know?
I have a couple good mantras. Me and Rafa's mantra since we started making rap songs: energy up, expectations down. That's it. And so,
energy up, expectations down. So.
When we were doing rap shows at, the Senior Citizen Center in Berkeley or whatever, like this was the thing. Like, you're going to put, if this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing now. I'm going to put all of myself into it, and I'm going to expect absolutely nothing in return.
Nice.
I'm doing this because this is what I do.
Yeah.
And so that has served me very well. I'm always pleasantly surprised when anything comes back. And it's not the point. It's, again, like about being a process person. And my dad always told me that you love people for exactly who they are, and not who you want them to be. You love them for who they are. And when they tell you who they are, you get to listen to them, and you get to hold them to that, And that is a thing that has really served me.
I like that you look for that's who you are. Then if I love you, then I understand that's who you are, and I don't. Again, energy up, expectations down. I now know exactly what to expect from you because you've told me who you are.
Yeah. And it was never about what I get back from you necessarily. It's about, I love this. This is you. This is what I love. And so those are probably the two best ones.
That's great. Great. We don't only get two. Right, so thank you for that. Last question: what cause would you like people to support? What nonprofit? What thing that's going on do you want people to know about?
The organization I've been doing the most work with lately is one called Cool Hand Series, which is run by a woman named Madison O'Leary, and it's the hype is we bring films and filmmakers into prisons, and then have conversations with inmates after post screening. So it's allowing art to make its way into the prison system and for the artist, for the creator, also getting us to think more about where our stories come from and who our stories are for, and where the storytellers are.
Cool Hand series?
That's it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a great organization. It's basically Maddie doing all of it. Rafa and I have brought blind spotting into a number of prisons at this point. They're also doing playwriting and theater workshops in there, so producing plays. Yeah, and she's brought in so many great films and filmmakers in already. A lot of work in California, a lot in New York. Also, we've done work in Utah. She's doing work in Texas. I haven't been there yet, but we're trying to figure that out. So yeah, it's a great org for like the artist friends of mine, like the namey names who are listening to this. When you get the call, just say yes. It's so fun. It is actually like, it's a great time and a great and eye-opening experience, and you get to have some really beautiful conversations and meet really beautiful people, and it's a way to acknowledge the madness of our for-profit prison system in a very like hands-on way, and then figure out, at least start to spin a little bit on, well, what can we do? This is how it is. A, how can we change it? And B, like, what can we do with it in its current state? I think that's actually, for a thing that is pretty simple at its core, it's just like come into prison and talk to people, show art and talk to people who are interested in art.
Yeah, and it's called the Cool Hand series.
Cool Hand series.
And I haven't done that, but I have done stuff at San Quentin, and I think people don't understand that you get afraid of like going into a prison.
Yeah.
But when you go to those places, you immediately feel like, who was I afraid of?
Yeah.
They're just so happy that I'm here.
Oh my God, yeah.
They're just and they're happy, and the things that I say that I know they never have heard before, and they really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it's always a beautiful experience. Everyone is thrilled that you're there, and also, and I end up getting so much out of it for sure every time I go. So
sure. Yeah. All right. Last, the podcast is called Who's With Me? Are you with me?
I'm with you.
All right.
Always.
It'd be weird to find out. I'm not.
Actually.
Glad you finally asked. I didn't want to be here at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That was my conversation with David Diggs. Love talking to that dude. Could talk to him for hours and hours. Just sort of good person. As you heard at the end, he shouted out the Cool Hand series, which is a curated series that brings filmmakers and their films into prisons so that the population there can see these films they might not otherwise see, and also they can engage and have conversations with these filmmakers. It's a great idea. I do a lot of work with San Quentin in my area, so I know the power of going into a prison. It is powerful for the people in the prison. It's also powerful for you. Thank you, David, for being on the show today. Come back anytime. Also, thank you to Rabbit Grin here in LA, where I am right now, who's producing this show, Rabbit Grin Productions. Thank out to Pushkin Productions, who is helping send this podcast around the world. And thank you to, who else? Thank you to me. I showed up and I did it. I did my best. Special shout out to Skyline Studios, as always, who lets me do things in Oakland. Next week, our guest is Nava Mao. Nava Mao is famously known for being one of the stars of the Netflix series Baby Reindeer. Nava Mao is also a transgender actress, which I only mentioned because we talk about that a lot. And I want you to tune in for that episode because the last 2 weeks we've talked about the transgender community, but I should probably have somebody from that community to speak for themselves. So next week, Nava Mao. And also, once again, please like and subscribe, hype the channel, give us 5-star reviews. And once you do all that, then share the podcast with somebody in your life who you think would dig it. That's the important part. That's how we build it. If you share this podcast with 1 or 2 people, then we can really start to do some things and really get the word out there of who's with me. Are you with me? I'm with you. If you're watching right now, I'm pretty sure I'm with you. I can't imagine that Dana White and Joe Rogan made it this far.